We're going to talk about this new timeline with Dateline, and I kind of pieced in things that we know from court documents as well. I wanted to release this, but Dateline claimed it again. So I'm going to be pausing a lot. We're going to be doing a lot of commentary, but I want to walk through this. It's going to be interesting. Here we go.
That Saturday night, Ethan and Xana.
Hold on. Slow that shit down.
Were attending a party at the nearby Sigma Chi fraternity. Kaylee and Maddie went to hang out at the Corner Club in downtown Moscow, arriving sometime after 10 p.m.
So this is starting out, right, Saturday night. This is where they went. This is the timeline, okay? I'm sorry I have to keep pausing, but I don't want the stream to get shut down because that's what they do. It's this damn music in the background.
3.5 hours later, at 1:37 a.m., the two women left the bar together, walked a couple of blocks to a place called the Grub Truck, and got some food, as you can see in this video. At precisely 1:49 a.m., one of the women called for a young fraternity member who'd been assigned.
So yesterday I went over the Grub Truck video again, and I don't think that guy, the two guys that walked past, I don't think any of them are Koberger. Because they actually go up and order food. I don't see him in this video, in the Grub Truck. But it's interesting now if we go deeper in the timeline, when and if we find out where he was driving around, because remember, he was like up and down King Road. We see him turning around like 333, 340 something, then again at 345 or whatever. He drove around somewhere in between those times. So I was thinking about the whole criminal that answered the research survey. I put a video about that yesterday. SG said that someone contacted them and said he answered Brian's survey and that Brian was like obsessed with the dude's crime. And the dude's crime was he would listen to a police scanner, wait for like a domestic violence call where the male got arrested, and then he would go rob the place. But Brian wanted to go deeper and wanted to keep asking him questions about that. So I think Brian made those calls. I think Brian might have called the cops on those kids walking through Band Field. I really do. I think he wanted to distract the police. So at 3:00, we have the Band Field people getting, minor in possession. I think so, Danny. Yeah. I just think that he did that. And then I think from 3:30 to 4:00, he kept trying to get the gumption up to do it. That's why he was driving up and down the road. Yep. Disperse the kids too. Yep. Because all the kids came out of the house. We're going home. What if he went in there during some of those calls? We need to go back through the body cams.
To help drive home upper-class men and women to make sure they arrived safely, a ride of little more than a mile. They got to the house on King Road at 1:56 a.m. Roommates Bethany and Dylan also got home around 2. Xana and her boyfriend, Ethan, would return shortly.
Court records reveal a series of text messages. Okay. So I'm filling in the timeline here. So let me actually mute this. We really don't even need to listen to his ass because I know what the damn timeline thing is. So 1:56 a.m., Kaylee and Maddie get home. 2:00, Dylan and Bethany get home. And then Ethan and Xana arrive shortly after. So this is what happens after that when the girls are texting with one another.
Friend Ethan would return shortly.
Court records reveal a series of text messages exchanged between Dylan, Bethany, and others on November 13th, 2022. At 2:10 a.m., Dylan sends a text to EG, an Uber driver, to ask if he's working. So we now know that What that was about was all the girls were upstairs. Kaylee and Maddie had food. They wanted food. For whatever reason, they decided not to get the food. This message is not considered hearsay, but may be used to establish a timeline confirming Dylan was awake and texting at that time.
And starting at 2:26 a.m., Kaylee and Maddie made a total of 10 phone calls to Kaylee's former boyfriend.
So we have the 10 calls at 2:26, starting at 2:26, to Jack. And do you guys think that the call to Jack was about, did he talk to Adam? What do you guys think of that?
A half hour later, at 2:54 a.m., the cell phone in neighboring Pullman was turned off.
Okay, so here we go. 2:54 is when Brian Koberger turned off his phone. The kids at Band Field were getting in trouble at right around 3 a.m., right? So he drives. This is when he's leaving Pullman to head over to Moscow. Turns the shit off. 2:54. Probably because he was sleeping, Joey.
It was the cell phone belonging to Brian Koberger. 32 minutes later, at 3:26, a car that authorities identified as a white Elantra and called Suspect Vehicle 1 was detected in the southeast corner of Moscow.
What time? 32 minutes later at 3:26. Here, we can just read the captions. At 3:26, a car that authorities identified as a white Elantra and called Suspect Vehicle 1 was detected in the southeast corner of Moscow. Koberger shuts off his phone and starts his drive from Pullman to Moscow. At 3:30, security video from a neighboring house obtained exclusively by Dateline shows Suspect Vehicle 1 turning towards 1122 King Road. This is 3:30. So he's detected, and then there he is, right on their road at 3:30. Now, mind you, I think still at this time, those kids are down there getting questioned by the police, right?
Just off camera. 3 minutes later, at 3:33 a.m., the car was back, again past.
Damn, dude. 3:30, 3:33. Then again at 3:40. And then back at 3:56. And then again at 3:58.
3:58 a.m. By 4 a.m., most people inside the house were in their rooms. Some were asleep. But not Xana, who about that time received a food order from DoorDash. Then at 4:00.
Do we know the exact time of the DoorDash or just approximate? I can't remember. 4 a.m., most people inside the house were in their room. Some were asleep, but not Xana.
But not Xana, who about that time received a food order from DoorDash.
And where was the DoorDash order dropped off? Was it dropped off in front? Did she go to the front? Everybody's in. Picture this. Oh, Lord have mercy. Picture this. Picture that Xana's food's dropped off at the front door. She goes to the front door to grab her food. Everybody else is in their rooms, and he sneaks in the back door and goes upstairs. She goes back in the kitchen. Door's wide open. She sees something out of place and goes upstairs to check it out because she hears something and says, someone's here. And then he chases her down.
Then at 4:06 a.m., something definitive seemed to be happening. The car traveled west, performed a U-turn at the intersection of King Road and Queen Road, and headed back toward the house. At 4:07 a.m., the car drove in one last time.
You thought the DoorDash was 4:04? So if it's 4:04 and he's pulling back in at 4:07, I wonder how they crossed paths. It'll be interesting to find out, like, those exact details.
approaching the house at 1122 King Road. What happened? Sometime after 4:07 a.m., the killer entered the house on the second floor through an unlocked sliding kitchen door.
Thank you, Shelby. Jay, do we know if BK made any calls during the time of driving around? They haven't said. They haven't said anything about that, surprisingly. Did he order DoorDash to Xana and drive around waiting to see DoorDash leave? Well, that's what I said in the beginning. I'm like, did he order the DoorDash so that he could plan this? But why would she? But they have her ordering the DoorDash. They have like that record in the documents. So she ordered it. She was expecting it, I guess. It's just weird, isn't it, that she would order food 2 hours after being home? Oh, that's right. His phone was off. Duh. Black Hawk, I can't with you.
And went quickly and directly upstairs to Maddie Mogan's bedroom. Sources close to the investigation have told us that is one of the reasons they believe Maddie was the killer's target. But almost certainly to the killer's surprise, he discovered that Maddie was not alone. Kaylee was sleeping in the same bed. Close to the investigation speculate that Xana, downstairs in the second floor kitchen on TikTok, heard thumping and went to...
So that's what they're saying. That Xana was in the kitchen with her food and heard thumping. They did say he almost hit somebody. Yep. And I don't know who that person is, right?
To investigate. The killer must have heard this, our sources said, and turned his attention away from Maddie and Kaylee and began chasing Xana. And in that...
And I think when she ran down the stairs, that's when she said, somebody's here. Do you guys think that's when she said somebody's here and that's what Dylan heard?
The killer in pursuit, Xana desperately tried to reach her bedroom where Ethan was sleeping or was possibly passed out. But as she reached the bedroom, the killer was on her.
So this is when she had the struggle with him. Thank you, Angie B. Welcome to the Clicker Crew Narcoleptic Buttered Catfish. He can't be entering the house as Xana was getting the bag of food. Okay, but you're assuming, Black Hawk, that Xana was standing there waiting for the food. How do you know that the food wasn't dropped and she didn't get it, take a couple minutes to go get it? You don't. Could she have seen the headlights pull into the driveway? Brian's headlights? Well, their windows were wide ass open, weren't they? Vince!
But one source described as a hell of a fight ensued.
So we know a little bit about the fight that Xana defended herself to Brian because we heard that her fingers were almost severed. But if you look at this angle of the house, I would imagine Xana on the floor next to the bed here with her feet where they could see it, like looking in. Is that how they described it? Because remember the blood coming out of the foundation or whatever? Skip, yeah, we know he pulled in the back, but the headlights still went by the front over and over and over for a half an hour that morning. Oh, Skip, that's so horrible. I know, Terry. We need a big whiteboard for this. I think she must have been in her room eating when he went in, then went to the kitchen. Well, they probably have that, Kathleen Bell. That hasn't been released to us. That's all. If they have camera of BK going in and out, they definitely can differentiate that from the DoorDash. They'll do that at trial. What do you guys think about the positioning of Xana, though? God, stop with the green car, for fuck's sake. Because I'm picturing when Dylan walked by, if she saw Xana's feet, she may have thought she passed out, like just crashed on the floor. But then she also heard crying, right? She also heard crying.
At 4:17 a.m., 10 minutes after the suspect car turned in toward 1122 King Road, on that neighboring house picked up sounds, including what police described in charging papers as distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. Here are those sounds. Xana either dead or dying. The killer saw Ethan in bed, possibly.
Okay, yeah. So her head would have been near this wall. The pillows right now are on the wall that had the blood. The pillows on the wall is the wall that was outside that had the blood. Dylan said her feet were towards the hall and her head was towards the wall. There we go. It is, Robat. It's really scary. And I'm sure they have more.
Passed out after a night of drinking, and with one swift blow of the knife, blood spatter shows, the killer struck an artery.
So that was how Ethan was killed. One blow of the knife, according to the blood spatter, the killer struck Ethan's artery.
And according to our sources, the killer did something strange. He carved Ethan's lower legs. Carved is the specific word that was used.
Carved. I was thinking about this. That's what we say when we carve a pumpkin. That means that he dug the knife in and carved something out. Oh my God. Like carving a damn pumpkin. You literally take whatever's inside it out. You got to be a sick motherfucker to do this. God. He hated Ethan. He was mad. The Night Stalker carved victims too. Oh, God. It's horrible. Listen what happened to Ethan again, guys. And remember, Ethan's autopsy was in the PCA, the probable cause affidavit, except it was redacted. So along with the verbiage of the probable cause affidavit, you have to remember this autopsy was also attached to that. So the judge also saw Ethan's autopsy. And we don't know exactly what it was like. You also carve when you cut meat, carve a turkey. Yep. Oh, God.
Xana either dead or dying. The killer saw Ethan in bed, possibly passed out after a night of drinking, and with one swift blow of the knife, blood spatter shows, the killer struck an artery. And according to our sources, the killer did something strange. He carved Ethan's lower legs. Carved is the specific word that was used. It looked like the killer sat down after that, said an investigative.
It looked like the killer sat down after that.
Source, and left behind impressions in blood on a bedroom chair.
This is going to be an interesting part of the case to me. So I have no idea where the chair would have been located in Xana's room. That's one thing I wanted to do was I wanted to find some old videos of theirs and see if we can see where these things were placed. Like where was the chair placed? 359 Dynamite? Oh, Hellcat. It's absolutely horrible. K-bar knives? What do you mean they're not good for carving? They're killing knives. They're killing knives. So he sat down and left an impression in blood. Well, we heard early on that about Ethan's legs. It was leaked out early on. The bloody ass print is going to be what? What is... I wonder how they're going to use that. Big girl, I don't think he expected 4, right? And he probably didn't expect them to fight back. Maybe thought they were all sleeping. I don't think he was prepared for the fight that ensued, right? Sherry, baby, Sherry, thank you for your $15 tip.
Sherry has supported the stream using J4J Live.
Thank you, Sherry. And you, too, can send a tip the exact way that Sherry did. The mods will put the link in the chat. Thank you. Zur, thank you for your super sticker. Hello, beautiful. You're going to try to go, Hellcat? I do, Kathleen, without a doubt. You think Ethan was a surprise? I think Kaylee being in Maddie's room was a surprise. So that's 2 people that we don't think were really meant to be killed. I don't, anyways. Thank you, Jams. And thank you again, Sherry.
But as he left the bedroom, intending to exit through the same kitchen door where he entered, the killer was surprised again by another roommate. Dylan Mortensen had heard various unexplained noises that night, and at that moment opened her bedroom door. After hearing a noise she said she thought was crying coming from Santa's room, according to a police affidavit.
This part always bothers me. So this is where she heard the crying, right? She hears crying, she opens the door again, and there's BK. Lisa Rose, this right here is why we love you, Jay. Thank you, Lisa. 21 months. That's amazing. Thank you for your long-standing support. Sophia gifted another membership. Lindsay Hendricks, welcome. Enjoy your membership, Lindsay. I think he had been planning this for years. I think he's been wanting to do this for a while. Well, plus Kaylee fought back too, right? So he had a fight with Kaylee. He had a fight with Xana. And he was exhausted. Plus he stabbed to death 4 people. Holy shit, man.
While later in charging papers, police said Dylan told them she heard a male voice say something like, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," and saw a male in black clothing and a mask.
See, I don't like the order they're putting this in, because at what point did he say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you"? When was that? You know what I mean? Did she hear that after the attack? Like, after he killed them, he said, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." What? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Right, Kathleen. She thought that they were playing with the dog, horsing around and being loud, right?
Voice say something like, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," and saw a male in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking toward.
Really? I mean, Angie, have you watched all of the evidence? Have you read all of the documents? He was covered head to toe. There was nowhere to scratch. He was covered. Where did you want him to scratch?
Towards her. She said he was 5 feet 10 or taller, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. She said the male walked past her as she stood in a frozen shock phase. At 4:20 a.m., his suspect vehicle blonde as it burst back into the range of that security camera. At a high rate of speed, the car raced toward the intersection, turned right, and disappeared from view.
Okay, so he leaves at 4:20. I think so too, Gigi. Maybe that was Ethan saying that. Yeah, I don't know if they got the timeline right on that one. Right, that's what I was picturing, PKC. Like, that was when he wanted Xana to calm down. Don't worry, I'm going to help you. guess what, Joey? I have a big knife right here in my kitchen. Does that mean I did it? Does that mean I could have done it? I don't think Bethany strived her whole life to kill and get away with it. The DNA came from the underside of a snap. I mean, I guess she could have tried to yank on the eyebrows. I mean, I don't know what you guys expected. He planned this. He knew how to avoid defensive wounds. He's not dumb. He studied this. 419 to 421. Dylan attempts to call Bethany, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. No. So Dylan immediately, this is what I found interesting. Before he's even pulling off, Dylan is trying to call the roommates. Because he pulled off, what does it say? 4:20:46. And starting at 4:19, Dylan's calling. So she's calling when he's getting in his car and leaving. That is fucking chilling, man.
At a high rate of speed, the car raced toward the intersection, turned right, and disappeared from view.
419 to 421. Dylan attempts to call Bethany, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. She called all of them. She tried to call all of them. So if she tried to call Bethany, was Bethany sleeping? Did she wake up Bethany? Because Bethany's way down on the bottom floor. Well, he was already getting in his car. She started calling at 4:19. He was pulling off at 4:20. So he was like literally leaving the house, getting in his car while she was already calling her roommates. All of them. She tried to call all of them. 419 to 421. Dylan attempts to call Bethany, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. None of the calls are answered. 4:22 to 4:24 a.m. Dylan and Bethany exchange text messages. Dylan to Bethany. No one is answering. I'm really confused right now. Dylan to Kaylee. Kaylee, what's going on? Bethany, back to Dylan. Dude, what the fuck? Xana was wearing all black. Dylan to Bethany. I'm freaking out right now. No, it's like a ski mask almost. Bethany to Dylan. Shut the fuck up, actually. Dylan to Bethany. Like he had something over his forehead and mouth. I'm not kidding. I'm so freaked out. Hey, Bethany Gina. To Dylan. So am I. Dylan, my phone is going to die. Fuck. Bethany, come to my room. Run down here. At 4:24 a.m., Dylan attempts to call Ethan Chapin, but the call goes unanswered. More texts follow. 4:24 a.m., Dylan to Bethany. I'm scared, though. 4:25 a.m., Bethany to Dylan. Yeah, I know, but it's better than being alone. 4:27 a.m., Dylan calls Kaylee. No answer. 4:28 a.m., Dylan calls Xana. No answer. 4:32 a.m., Dylan texts Kaylee. Please answer. Then we move into the next morning. So 4:27. Thank you so much, Maria. Remember, Ethan's autopsy took a minute. Yeah, it did. That's right. We knew there was something different, right? And I don't think it's ever been named how many times Kaylee was stabbed. Don't spread misinformation. You don't have her autopsy. Stop it. So at 4:27 a.m., Dylan calls Kaylee. No answer. 4:28, Dylan calls. Wait, hold on. Let's listen to that part again. 4:28 a.m., Dylan calls Xana. No answer. 4:32 a.m., Dylan texts Kaylee. Please answer. So she's frantically calling all them, hoping one of them will pick up or answer and be like, oh, okay, it's not anything bad. Your mind's not gonna go to a quadruple murder. Then stop it, Joey. Stop it, Joey. You're pushing the line, Joey. You're not gonna come here and accuse Ethan's best friend. You're not. Watch your line, because I do have a line I draw here. I'm sure it is, Trixie. I kind of just threw this together just for timeline purposes. I want to put together a more extensive one. This is just something I threw together. We move into the next morning.
8 a.m., 28 minutes after the white car.
Okay, so now we're kind of going back in time a little bit. 4:48 a.m. So Brian pulls out at 4:20, or suspect vehicle 1 pulls out at 4:20. And then at 4:48 a.m., Brian's phone pings here.
Car left King Road. FBI records show a cell phone turned on south of Moscow and hit a cell tower that covered an area west of Blaine, Idaho. A phone that records show was tied to Brian Koberger.
So his phone goes off in Pullman. His phone goes off. The murders happen. And then, boom, his phone goes on a half an hour later, south of Moscow. It really doesn't take a rocket scientist to see this. Oh, that's right. He went to Blaine, and then he drove all around just gazing because it's such a different view of the stars from different cities.
The signal moved west, and 32 minutes later at 5:20 a.m., the phone hit a tower near Johnson, Washington, until finally at 5:39 a.m., the phone connected to a tower covering the west side of Pullman, Washington. And it was in Pullman, records obtained by Dateline show, that a call was made from that phone linked to Brian Koberger using a tower not far from his apartment. The time was 6:17 a.m.
So he gets home. He goes out stargazing some more all around Blaine, Johnson, Idaho. He's out in the middle of nowhere. Oh, I'm sure there's tons more texts and calls, right? I don't know, Brendan. I don't know. We don't know the extent of the injuries. Could be. We don't know what he did. He could have SA'd. We just don't know. Right. So on a cloudy night, he's going out. He's stargazing in random places just for the hell of it because he's a night owl. Sounds legit.
If you say Ferris Bueller, you lose a testicle.
So then he gets back to Pullman. Yeah, cloud gazing. So he gets back to Pullman, and at 6:17, he calls Daddy Koberger. But it's not the only time he calls Daddy Koberger.
Nearly 2 hours after the killer sped away from the murder scene. The call lasted 36 minutes. 2. A phone in Pennsylvania registered to Brian Koberger's father. It appears that several family phones, including his mother's, are on the same account.
I don't know why that matters if they're all in the same account. I mean, my son's on my account, but I don't know why they cleared that up, but okay.
In fact, records show that call was the first of 3 calls Koberger made to the phone registered to his father that morning. 7:33 hours after the murders, Bethany was awake and calling her dad.
I don't know if they got this wrong. Did Bethany call home too? I thought it was Dylan calling her dad. He calls the phone on his dad's account. Mom, dad, 2 sisters, 3 calls to that account. No, he said 3 calls to his dad's phone. He just said all of the family are on the same account. He called his dad 3 times. 3 times that morning. Right? A lot of people have said laundry vibes. Does his dad know? Did his dad know? I don't know. Was he trying to use an alibi? Like, oh, I talked to Brian that morning. I don't know what good that would do, but I think so. Green-eyed PI, Wah State Park. That's where Ted Bundy went. And we know now that he dressed up like Ted Bundy. I called this fucking 2 years ago. The dude really isn't that smart. I mean, for those of us that follow true crime for a long time, we can kind of pick up on different things that he's done. Different things that mimic other things. It's really not like that outlandish to think that he's mimicked other killers and tried to not make the mistakes they made.
His father that morning. 7:33 hours after the murders, Bethany was awake and calling her dad. By 8:05 a.m., Dylan was at least briefly back on Instagram. And at times throughout the morning, she continued to reach out to her roommates by text and on social media apps. Still, no answer. Just after 9 a.m., records show Brian Koberger's phone was briefly back in Moscow and not far from the crime scene for about 9 minutes.
So he came back to the area for about 9 minutes. Now, what's interesting about this is I told you guys the other day about the small brain that was found on Ethan's frat house dumpster. that morning. There was a father who was dropping off his son back for the weekend at the frat house. And the father, this was at 11:30 a.m. on the 13th, on Sunday the 13th. The father found a small brain on top of the dumpster at the frat house where Ethan lived. Now we know Brian was back in the area at 9 something. Did he drop off a brain? Well, my question is how often, see, it's great that we know that he called his dad that morning, but what I want to know, did he call his dad every morning? Was this out of character? Laura, I've thought that too. Kind of intermingling all these different crimes. Or did he realize he had dropped the knife sheath and wanted to see if he could retrieve it? Or was he revisiting the crime scene to see the hoopla of all the police? And first responders? Was he wanting to see that live footage, not footage, but did he want to see it in person?
Before returning to his apartment, where at 10:31 a.m. he took this selfie in his bathroom mirror.
So he was in Moscow at 9, and then at 10:31, he must have just showered and took this picture. Was he worried someone lived? I don't know. You do, Ginger Root? You think he messed with that, put the undies in the cup holder? Brian Koberger called his dad for help. For help with what, Joey? He didn't do nothing. Why would he call his dad? You think he wanted to see the aftermath? No, it was a small brain, like an animal brain. I think he was shitting bricks because the sheath was missing. Yeah, it was like a small brain, like an animal. And there were dead animals found in the police blotter in the weeks and months leading up to the murders. There were more dead animals than just the dog. There was, I think, a rabbit. There was rats. I think they were taken from like the school lab or something. Hey, Global. I think he called his dad because he was in a good mood and wanted to talk. Maybe he was high on adrenaline. But he was there for 9 minutes. So did he sit there and go, oh, should I go in? "11:39 a.m. Dylan exchanges texts with her father. The contents of those texts are unknown. 11:50 a.m. Dylan receives a text from Jay. It says, bro. 10:50 a.m. So she got a text at 10:50 a.m. that said, bro, from someone that starts with a J. Was this picked before he drove to Lewiston or after? Oh, Lewiston is left out of this, isn't it, Laura? He went to Lewiston after the shower. Yep, he went to Lewiston afterwards. Dylan calls EA. 10:51. Oh my God, what if he went in? I guess we don't know, Diana. I guess he could have. We just don't know. Oh God. Bro or be right over? Oh, maybe be right over. Maybe his dad handles him in his mental illness. Dexter's that maybe? Cricket, I have no idea. I have the police report. I don't have the video, but could be right over. Well, I mean, to be fair, Eli, they have footage of him the night before, so why wouldn't they have footage of him the morning of? Obviously, this light bulb picked him up that morning. I don't know anything about his bank of records, but 1 a.m. Dylan receives another text from Jay.
11:55 a.m. 42 seconds, November 13, 2022.
911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
Okay.
Welcome, Maria.
And is that a house or an apartment?
It's a house.
Can you repeat the address to make sure that I have it right?
I'll talk to you guys. We live at the light, so we're next to them.
I need someone to repeat the address for verification.
The address, 1122 King Road.
And what's the phone number that you're calling from?
What's your phone number?
Green-eyed, that could be.
Tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she's not waking up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Yeah. Hi,
And are you with the patient? Okay, I need someone to keep the phone, stop passing it around.
Can I just tell you what
That's Maddie Mogan's car.
happened pretty much?
What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now?
I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m.
Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
Why is he wearing earbuds in the selfie? Thank you, Nicole G, for 8 months. I appreciate your support. My scratcher dealer. Why is he wearing earbuds? Maybe he's listening to his Britney Spears slowed down criminal song because he's a weirdo.
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, but we gotta go check. But we have to. She's not waking up.
Okay, one moment. I'm getting help started that way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and how old is she?
She's 20.
20, you said?
Yes, 20. Here's one
Okay.
of them.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay. Sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Okay.
How come there's no... I know. I understand him, like, trying to protect the girls. But why didn't he say, like, there's more than one? Or, like, I mean, he really held it together. I'm shocked. I mean, I guess that could be the shock, right? It could be the shock. They don't want to believe they're dead. They don't want to believe it's a stabbing. Like, it's the furthest thing from their mind. Right. They can't process it's a murder. They can't comprehend that. That has not hit them, that it's a murder. I mean, this actually makes me want to throw up.
You need to talk to them, okay? I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them.
Hello?
Okay.
And I think that he started throwing up, if I'm not mistaken. I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them. He could have seen Ethan's legs, for God's sakes. Maybe he couldn't even get the words out. Maybe how do you say, oh my God, his legs are torn out? I mean, like, how do you get those words out? It's just all very shocking. And I'm not gonna judge them. But it is crazy to hear the response.
Okay. I've already sent the ambulance and law enforcement. Stay on the line. If there is a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
Say that again?
Can someone please get rid of Tony? You're not going to call her names like that. Get a life, Tony. Go pick on someone your own size. Don't come in here picking on a 19-year-old little girl. Weirdo.
There's a police here right now.
Okay. If there's a defibrillator available, send someone to get it now and tell me when you have it.
We don't have one. I think dead. Do you have a
Did you hear that?
I think dead. Do you have a defibrillator? Yes, you have one.
Are you talking to the officer?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to let you go since he's there with you and can help you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
11:59 a.m. 49 seconds, November 13, 2022.
Dylan receives another text from Jay and a vandal alert at 1:04 p.m. Okay, so that's pretty much the timeline that I threw together. It's absolutely shocking to me that this even still happened. I'm still ugh. I just think, Robat, that if you saw your friend in that condition, I don't know how you would even get the words out. 2 friends, right? They're both, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine. It would be very scary. Liberty, that's really scary. Hey, Danielle. We are taught to stay calm. Well, I mean, you have to remember that this dispatch gets a lot of college calls. They take WSU and University of Idaho calls. It's all going to one dispatch. So they get a lot of drunk people, right? And then they get their hand, this phone is being passed around. She's trying to figure out what's going on. However, that may be a smoking gun because BK was Googling the Moscow murders before they called 911. So it may be a blessing in disguise.